I said, I'm glad I got here early enough to hear about everybody's wives and boyfriends and let's see, birthdays and getting screwed at Christmas and not getting any gifts. Did you ever think most of you didn't deserve any gifts? Your media, you didn't deserve any gifts at Christmas. So I don't know. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't have got you one either. So all kidding aside, let's ask questions. I'll start out with my comment. Watching the game against Duke, I wasn't quite as fired up as everybody else. I thought we did a very average job offensively. In fact, it was poor. I did not like the way we dribbled the ball to death. I give Duke some credit for that. I think they did a hell of a job defensively. I didn't like the way I coached because I didn't think I had us prepared for the pressure like I should. But that was far from Picasso. And, I'm sure Duke didn't feel they played very well offensively either. Maybe we had something to do with it. So maybe the defenses are ahead of the offense, but we need a lot of work offensively. And this is the problem with these quick turnarounds that we got 1 and 2 days, 1 day after the game next, 2 days, but we're traveling. That's one of the problems. Now it's the same for everybody, so it's no excuses. But the other problem is, you play a team like Detroit. They got one of the more prolific guard scorers in the whole country. And yet they got a bunch of transfers, a bunch of new people. We haven't seen a game yet. Those things all create problems. So what we're trying to do is worry a little bit more about ourselves and understand. I know how good a coach Mike Davis is. He beat us when he was at Texas Southern. We played him when he was at Indiana. I think he's a very, very good coach that I don't know what kind of team he's going to have right now, just because of the situation. So we're going to try to worry about us. We're going to try to do a better job on the break. We're going to try to do a better job of moving the ball side to side. We're going to try to do a similar job defensively. And I think we got to start shooting the ball like I think we're capable of shooting the ball. So all in all, good win, but I didn't think we got better because of the way we played, and I still give Duke some credit for that. But we're going to be ready to go tomorrow night and hopefully do some things a little better that we didn't do as well.
First question up, we'll go to Chris Solari from the Detroit Free Press.
Yeah, one of the things with that start, you played a lot of zone defenses in the first 2 games, and their pressure seemed to get out there. How much of it was maybe just adjusting and getting back into that man coverage, and how much are these couple games here early facing all these different styles going to help you later?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it will help us. And like I said, I blame some of our players for over dribbling the ball, but I really do take the blame. It's not to take it off the players. I did not, watching them on film, they didn't pressure as much. And I don't know how much they pressured. I just thought we did a poor job of moving the ball. So combination of both things. But you're right. We played against a lot of zone, and that's going to help us in the long run. But then all of a sudden to go against a very good man-to-man team, maybe we just didn't do a good enough job. But I didn't think full court press, I had enough stuff in, and that's going to happen early. So this is the best thing that can ever happen. To win a game, have the coach not coach good and the players not play as good, and don't take that away from Duke, because I don't think they played as good as they can play offensively either. But it's a lot more fun to learn with a win than learn with a loss. So I got to get better. They got to get better. We're all in the same boat.
Next, we'll go to Kyle Austin from MLive.
Hey, Tom, just wanted to know, after you looked at it on film, what you thought of Aaron running the point when you had him doing that, and is that at all a possibility going forward?
At certain lineups, I think it is good. We're hoping to get AJ Hogart some time now too, but I liked Aaron at the point. I thought he did some good things. I think he'd be the first to tell you, everybody wants to play the point until they play it, and it's not as much fun because it's a lot of work. It takes a lot more audio. I think we didn't realize that with Cassius. I realized that people don't, but when we were moving Denzel there some, it takes a lot out of a guy to play the point. There's a lot of different things you have to do. And I can't afford to have Aaron there a lot because I got to have him on sometimes the best offensive player, him or Rock. I got to have him get into the offensive glass. But for a changeup once in a while, I thought he made good decisions for the most part. We've been working hard, really hard, on coming to a 2-foot jump stop. One thing I do appreciate Duke did is took a lot of charges, and we're getting to be a broad jump team instead of a 2-foot solid team in there. We took a lot of runners. We didn't, we hit a couple of them and they look exciting when you hit them. It's like a 3. You make 5 threes. If you make 4 in a row, everybody thinks you just conquered the world. Meanwhile, you went 5 for 30. The same with those runners, they're not high percentage shots. So we've got to get back to doing some things a little more fundamentally sound. And that's what I plan on doing.
Next, we'll go to Lindsey Huddleston.
Thank you. Tom, bear with me for a moment. I want to try to unpack this. It seems since the win the other night, looking back, you've been weathering the storm for the program, but every time you go through something, there's an achievement. Real quick examples, the national story that Aaron became, and you coaching millennials, then you get the biggest millennial catch of all with Imani Bates. We saw what Cassius went through, but you win the last game of the season last year, which was the Big Ten run. And finally, you battle COVID, and then you come out with the win in Cameron. Is there any truth to this beautiful struggle thing? I mean, what do you take of that?
God, Lindsey, you just made me feel better. Then again, me feeling better is not always good for my team. I think it's better that I'm on edge, so I'm still not going to feel great. But I think your point is this. I did miss 2 weeks of practice, and even though I think it was in very capable hands, it's always different when the head coach. It's just like everything else in life. Parents are away, things go on a little differently, and I think we had solid people. I think DJ did an incredible job, but then getting me back is a new adjustment for them too. So if you look at all the adjustments we've had to make and what we go through, even the protocol on traveling, it's stressful because you got everything's so timed. You get up in the morning, you get there at night, you get tested. You get up in the morning, you get tested. You got to practice, you got a meeting, you got a breakfast. So, there are some adjustments to be made. I think that's a very, very good point. And let's not forget, that you're right. We're the defending Big Ten champs. We won our last game of the year. If Illinois would have won last night and we could win this weekend, you might have had 4 Big Ten teams in the top 5. And guess where we would have still been? 4th. So it shows you how good the conference is. I'm trying to keep everything in perspective because there's times I lose perspective. Eastern Michigan didn't have its big guys. They were in COVID. I think Notre Dame had everybody, but you don't know. Duke did have everybody, but they're young yet. I'm just trying to keep everything in perspective, making sure that the world doesn't get out of perspective, but I don't want to downplay the good accomplishments either. I mean, I said it was embarrassing to say, but we haven't had a team that won at Duke. We were 0-3, so that's an accomplishment. That's something to deal with. We've won 2 out of 3 against them. That's an accomplishment. I just didn't feel we played as well as you need to play. But then again, if you don't play well and you can win, understanding they probably didn't feel they did either. Both teams gave great effort. I mean, both teams played hard defensively, and maybe that was part of it. But yeah, good point. I'm pleased with I love my team. I didn't love the way we played, not moving the ball after 53 assists in 60 games. And we had 9 assists. And I felt like we played that way. It wasn't selfish. It was not handling the pressure good.
Great. Thanks for that, Tom.
Thank you.
We'll go to Matt Charbonneau now.
Tom, I know this unique scheduling allows you to get Detroit back on the schedule. Hadn't played them in a long time. I wondered if you have any memories of that triple overtime game back in '96. I think it was your second year, maybe. I know it's going back a ways, but do you recall that game very well?
I do. I mean, I never forget a loss, especially an in-state loss. Never, ever forget them. I'm not sure it's going to have a lot to do with this game. I don't think the carryover is going to have anything to do with this game. But yeah, I mean, back in those days, I think we lost 2 or 3 in a row to Detroit. Perry, he had a good team too, and we did a poor job. But I do remember that game because it was a big crowd. I think it was at Cobo, wasn't it? Big crowd, and you know, we lost games. So the good news for me is I know how it feels to beat Duke. I know how it feels to lose to Detroit or some other teams that we've lost to. So there's always good memories about playing in-state teams, though. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of those kids wanted to play here, wanted to play at Michigan. That's the scary part. The good part is we're giving a lot of kids an opportunity to fulfill a dream. And that's the good part. So we just got to be ready to play. I think you've seen all over the country upsets. I mean, this would be an upset. But there's been bigger upsets than this, especially when we don't know anything about their team. Torian Thompson, we recruited him out of high school. He's there. I think he was at Syracuse and Seton Hall. Now he's there. In this beautiful world of transfers, hell, I don't even know. I think Mike Davis is still the coach unless he got a transfer rule in. But it's very difficult nowadays with all these things going on to try to figure out where you are. What I do know, they got one of the best players they ever had at UAD. His son, man, we even recruited him a little bit in 8th, 9th grade. We went and saw him. And he is a very good coach that has done it at every level he's been at, from UAB to Indiana to Texas Southern. And so he can coach. And we got to be ready to play, especially after a big win.
We'll go to Brendan Chavez from Impact Sports.
Hey, Tom, I just wanted to ask you about Foster Loyer's performance against Duke. I think to a pedestrian viewer who might have just looked at the box score, he was a little bit invisible out there, but he played very well defensively and seemed to be a catalyst for that first half comeback. I'm just wondering your thoughts on his play.
I'd agree with you 100%. I think right now Foster Loyer is in a really good place. He knows what we need out of him. He's been an unbelievable captain. He is, he kind of sometimes calms our team down. He can make shots. His defense has improved enormously. Pressure still bothers him once in a while, but solid, got some rebounds, took 3 charges. I asked him if that's not a career high, a lifetime high. And we all laughed about it, but it probably was. And to his credit, he did it. So, yeah, I think he was definitely instrumental in moving the ball a little bit better. Made a big shot. As you say, the stat sheets might not show it. He did get, I think, 3 or 4 rebounds. So I thought his play was some of our best play of the guys that we had out there. There were players that made flashier plays, but as far as solid, I thought he played very well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Dalton Shetler from the Spartan Sports Network.
Hey, when you take a look at the pieces that you have defensively and the versatility that all these different players and pieces provide, I'm curious, what's the ceiling of this defense potential for this season? And does it remind you of any of the teams defensively that you've had in your past?
It does. I told Mateen Cleaves, I think we got a chance to be one of the best defensive teams since his day, Travis Walton's. And I think 08 or 09, we were very good defensively. I mean, a step above the norm. With Gary Harris's team in 13 or 14, I thought we were really good defensively. But this team might have more athletic depth with size. When you talk of Malik Collar or Julius or even Marcus, those guys can move. We're a little bigger at the guards other than Foster. At times we are maybe as strong and as athletic with both Rocket, Aaron, Josh, and then bringing Gabe in at 6'7", that's a pretty good perimeter. So the ceiling for the team is hard to say yet. The ceiling for us defensively, I think, could reach, some of my best here at Michigan State. And that's encouraging since defense travels. We'll see if that continues. But as I told my team, as good as we were defensively against Duke even, I thought the two negatives were those turnovers early and long rebounds led to some transition that you can't defend. And if there was one negative about our defense, we fouled a little bit too much, especially in that first 10 minutes. I think they had 17 free throws at halftime, and I think they had 10 in the first 3-4 minutes.
Thanks.
We'll go next to Larry Lace from the Associated Press.
Hey, Tom, question about Aaron Henry. Do you recall a player that filled the box score as much as he did the other night and did as many things for you also defensively? One guy is Alan Anderson that's coming to my mind, but I'm just wondering in your career at Michigan State, who he reminds you of or whose company he's in terms of doing it all.
It's funny because Alan Anderson texted me the other night from Vegas, and I think that's a pretty good comparison, a little different type players, but a good comparison. As Clark Kellogg used to say, I think he can be a stat sheet stuffer. You're talking a guy that's doing it with assists. I mean, I watched Jimmy Butler a lot during the playoffs because I just really liked the way he transformed his game. And I mean, Aaron, if he's a poor man, somebody, he is a little bit like him, like Alan Anderson was. I guess that would be the closest comparison to a Michigan State player. But he's one of my best defensive players. He's got a very high basketball IQ. He's averaging 5 assists. He's averaging, I think, 3 block shots a game. He's doing it with just about every aspect of the game, and that's why I'm trying to encourage and push him to be maybe the most versatile player, not just in the league, in the country. Because I think when you can do it on different parts of the game, that separates you too. And I think that's what he's doing. And credit to him that he's kind of stayed focused and wanted to get better in some of those areas.
We'll go next to Audrey Dahlgren.
Aaron Henry is just the theme of the day. So with him, what was more of the driving force to have him run the point a little bit at Duke? I know you don't want to use him there a lot because you have other options and you want to use him for other things. But I mean, what was the driving force to have him run the point a little bit, and what other situations do you see that happening?
I actually started it late in the summer. I just said he's got a pretty good basketball IQ. In fact, very good basketball IQ. And I wanted to teach him to get better with the basketball. So I said, I'm going to play at the point some. And, if you watch him before practices now, before a game, he's over there working on his ball handling drills. He's not Steph Curry, but he's doing some of those drills every day. I think it helped motivate him. He did not come to me and ask me. I actually went to him. And that's cool too in its own way. So I have some faith in him, which means he got a little excited about that. But like moving Draymond from the 4 to the 3 or somebody else from the 2 to the 1, every position seems better. It's like everything else in life. Every job's better. Every boyfriend or girlfriend's better. Everything's better, and the grass isn't always greener. So after the game, I said to Aaron, not as easy to do as you thought. And he looked at me, hell no, it's not. It's taxing. And so we're going to be able to use him their spot, but I got so many other positions I want to play him at. He still play the 4 some. I'm going to use him where I need him, but I think he showed where he can do that and still lead our break some. And that's encouraging for me.
And then one quick follow-up. This is about Draymond, actually. He was announced as one of the speakers for the fall 2020 commencement today. How riveting do you expect that speech to be? And is he a good guy for it, considering it is virtual too, so he can maybe add a little more flair?
When I called Draymond to talk to him about it a couple months ago, he was really excited. And I'm really excited. I watched him on TNT. He did a lot of games during the basketball, bubble tournament. And I thought he he's become an incredible speaker. You know, we look at Draymond, he's always so crazy, but he's crazy good. And he really, really was excited about this and really took it seriously. I mean, wrote up some stuff, talked to people. How it's going to be, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but I do think this, when he jumps into something, he goes in both feet. And this meant a lot to him. And it should mean a lot to him. You know, there's not many former players or coaches that get to speak at commencement. I mean, it happens, but not on a regular basis, you know. And so Condoleezza Rice, I don't know, you know, maybe he'll be the next one. She was great when she was here. I think Draymond will be dynamite, and I think he'll be real. And that's what'll be cool. I think he'll be real. And I think he'll be riveting in his own way. I really do.
Thank you.
We have time for a couple more. We'll start with Chris Solari and then wrap up with Stephen Brooks.
You know, when you moved Aaron over to the point, one of the things that I was thinking back to was a couple years ago when you moved Josh to the point for a little bit. Is that a situation that you could try maybe at some point? And I guess, you know, 3 games in, where do you think he is in terms of settling into his role?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think Rock and Foster are going to be able to handle things. I do think AJ will do it a little bit. You got Aaron there. The one guy I don't want to mess with is Josh. You know, it's hard enough not to play 2 years. I just want to get him comfortable in the position he plays. He can play the 2 or the 3. They're very similar in our program. I don't want to make anything more taxing on him than it is, because the 2 years off and everything he had to do. And but I think he can guard different people. That's why we have the ability to switch a little bit more now. But I think I'll probably keep him right where he's at, only because of all the things he's been through. But I'm also, you know, listen, we had, as I said, 53 assists in 2 games. And that ball was moving. And for whatever reasons, and like I said, I'll take some of the blame for it, it didn't move as well. You know, Foster still played one of his better games. Rocket still had 20 points. We just got to get more people involved. You know, we got to get Joey more shots. We got to get Josh more shots. We'll do that. We got to do a better job. We think we can get the ball inside now, where we thought our posts would be a weakness. Now they're becoming a strength. We think Marcus can score down there. We think Julius can score down there. I'm anxious to get some time in there for Marty, where that's one of the things I'm working on. I told you guys that I was going to try to play, you know, all 10, 11, 12 guys that I think can play. I'm going to try to get them all in earlier so I get a good look at all of them. So, you know, moving people around is going to happen some. Josh would probably be the one guy that I wouldn't, because of the situation.
As a quick follow with that, he played 29 minutes. How do you think, because the foot from a defensive standpoint is usually one of those things that can be iffy, but it seemed like he was doing pretty good defensive laterally.
You know, he did play probably too many minutes, but he's had a little problem with his knee, just, you know, just the wear and tear, I think, nothing structural. And we tried to rest him a little bit yesterday, and we'll do that periodically, but knock on wood, wherever it is, he's had no problems with his foot. And, you know, I don't want to use the word miracle, because that's saved for a lot more important things, I guess, in the world. But it is a miracle that he's responded like he has. And some people deserve miracles to happen. He's one of those guys that has.
We'll go to Stephen Brooks.
Hey, Tom, sticking at point guard, obviously Rocket comes into the starting 5 for Duke, and you mentioned defensive reasons. Do you expect to see him stay there with Foster on the bench moving forward, or is that still going to be a evaluation?
No, I don't know what it'll be, but I plan on Rocket probably being there. I plan on Rocket being there all the time. You know, Frosty played awfully well early, but I told you Rocket was hurt a little bit early too. And I think they're a good yin and yang. You know, we got one that's an explosive jet, and we've got one who can really shoot it, and they're different. And I think the cool thing about Frosty is he's comfortable in his own skin. And he's done an unbelievable job with Rocket. I mean, the way he's been leading this team and talking to guys and everything. So I don't think the minutes are going to change a lot between them. And I do like having a defensive presence out there to start the game. I also like the fact that bringing Foster off the bench, I know I'm getting some instant offense usually, and I know maybe he's going against a guy who's a little worn down, which would help him. So I'm just trying to look at what's best for our entire team and what's best for the individuals. And you're not going to see anything etched in stone till December 13th is over. I think there's a little bit of experimenting, but I like my starting lineup right now. I'm starting to like, Gabe being a 6-man off the bench. Marcus can come in and bring something completely different. We've talked about whether we start Marcus and bring TK off the bench, Tommy. But, we're going to probably look at some different things in different games. And yet I don't think it'll change the overall minutes of anybody. It just who fits in, who comes in better, who brings some offense, who brings some stability. All those things are what I'm going to look at this. And it's going to take a little time. And like I said, trying to figure out where we are, but trying to figure out who we played. If I knew everything about every team we played and we were still 3-0, I'd probably feel a little bit better. But I also realized that one of the reasons we've been a little sporadic is because I'm playing a lot of people. But when this thing comes and it hits us again, because it's gonna, unless we start masking up, I'm going to be as prepared as anybody with the depth we have and the people that have some playing time experience. And so there's a mission to some of the madness. It's not just to play 10, 11 people.
Thank you.
Coach, we had one more from Kyle Austin if we have time.
It's a quick one. Just wondering if, I know Western had to can their game this week. Just wondering if you've heard from them at all, if you have a sense if that's likely to happen on Sunday.
From what?
I said, I know Western, I know had to cancel their game this week. Just wondering if you've heard from them at all, if that game, you think that game's likely to happen on Sunday?
Yeah, as far as I know, everything's go for tomorrow and everything's go for Sunday. But remember this, Clemson canceled the game the day of the game at Florida State. I mean, me knowing is one thing, me guessing is another. I feel like I'm guessing on everything every day. I get the report at a certain time with us to say, okay, it's good. We're clear today. So I get that report and then I wait till the next day. This is a day by day deal. And every day we're trying to figure out where we are. And then when you clear yourself, you got to figure out where your opponent is. And it's not easy. It's not easy for Mike. It's not easy for us. It's not easy for them, but it's the same with everybody. And that's kind of what we got to do.
Coach, thanks very much for the time.
All right, guys. Well, like I said, day to day, we'll be trying to do what we can do. Still wish you guys are in the building with us, but we'll try to do this. I think you're going to try to get a play or two. And again, we're going to be kind of open if you got some suggestions that would help you guys out. Not traveling, only thing I am is late for dinner. So who cares? But other than that, we've got time to do some things. If it makes your life a little better, we'll try to do it. Mex has been great. He's kind of Michigan State-ized himself now. He got rid of the Georgetown. Nobody's allowed to do anything, anywhere, any place, anytime. So we've kind of Americanized them here to Michigan State. So you probably get a few more yeses than nos. But, he still has that complex of getting beat on for all those years there. And sometimes he gets a little crazy. So you guys all stay safe. Do me a favor, gang. Mask up. Stay safe. Talk to you tomorrow.
I'm going to try to go grab a couple players for you guys.